Welcome to Security Brief Nigeria. Please, if you are new here, kindly subscribe to our channel. The headlines: Trump's warning, US airstrike and Nigeria security dilemma, that Nigeria should expect more airstrikes. The news in details. The President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump, warning that Washington could carry out more military strikes in Nigeria if killings of Christians continue, has injected a new layer of tension into Nigeria-US relations and reignite debate over religious sovereignty and counterterrorism in the country. Trump's remarks made during an interview with the New York Times came in response to questions about Christmas Day U.S. strike in northwestern Nigeria. According to the U.S. African Command, AFRICOM, the strike targeted Islamic State ISIS militants and was conducted in collaboration with Nigerian security forces. Nigerian authorities also described the operation as a joint counter-terrorism effort, insisting it was not motivated by religious considerations. However, Trump's framing of the issue, suggesting that future strike could depend on whether Christians continue to be killed, has shifted the narrative from counterterrorism to religious persecution, a claim that Nigerian government firmly disputes. Let's look at the diverging narratives. On one hand, Trump argues that Christians are disproportionately targeted and that the situation poses an existential threat to Christianity. He has also suggested that US military action could escalate if violence against Christian communities persists. On the other hand, Nigeria's federal government maintained the insecurity in the country is not religiously selective. Foreign Affairs Minister Yusuf Maitama Tuga has emphasized that both Christians and Muslims are victims of violence perpetrated by terrorist groups such as Boko Haram and ISWAP, as well as by bandits and criminal gangs. Abuja also stressed that US airstrikes were conducted with Nigerian full consent and intelligence support, dismissing claims of sovereignty violations. Trump's assertion that Christians are mostly the victims contrasts with statements from United States security advisors and analysts who note that extremist violence in Nigeria has affected Muslims in equal or even greater numbers, particularly in the northeast and northwestern Nigeria. Let's look at the strategic and political implication. The disclosure by US lawmaker rely more that 12 Tomahawk missiles were fired at ISIS targeted signals a significant escalation in US military involvement in Nigeria. His comments that the strike are only the beginning suggest a broader and possible longer-term US security rule, albeit one frame as cooperation with Nigerian authorities. This development raises critical questions. Will U.S. involvement remain strictly counterterrorism focused, or could it evolve into a more overt intervention tied to religious protection? Or how will Nigeria manage the domestic political fallout, especially in a country where religious balance is highly sensitive? He also asks that could Trump rhetoric inflame sectarian tension by reinforcing the perception that the conflict is primarily religious rather than criminals and ideological? Let's look at the sovereignty versus security. Nigeria's leadership faces a delicate balancing act, welcoming international military support to combat extremist groups while safeguarding national sovereignty and avoiding narrative that could deepen religious polarization. The government insisted or insistence that insecurities affects all Nigerians reflects concern that framing the violence as anti-Christians could oversimplify complex conflicts rooted in covenants, failures, poverty, and proliferation or proliferation and weak border controls. What I can say here in conclusion is that Trump's comments underscore growing international concerns over Nigeria's security crisis, but also expose sharp differences in interpretation between Washington and Abuja. While both sides agreed on the need to defeat jihadist group, disagreements over the religious dimension of the violence could complicate cooperation. As US Nigeria security collaboration deepens, how the conflict is defined as terrorism, religious persecution, or both may prove just as consequential as the military actions themselves. So, to me, what I can add here, in my own opinion, is that the military knows the rightful path to target. It should not be that they are pampering them because of 2027 election coming up next year. United States are very intelligent and they cannot act on anything without their benefits. So the collaboration with Nigerian government is of a greater benefit to the United States. And it's also be a great movement for the Christians to jubilate because when United States strike, the bandits are in panic. They'll be looking for easy routes to escape. So that first strike in Nigeria, northwestern Nigeria, Sokoto precisely, the United States says, Donald J. Trump says that that was the beginning. It was just a warning. So I believe that the second one would target Bono, Sambisa Forest precisely. So he has made a statement very clear, a speech very clear that Nigeria should expect more strike. That's from my own point of view. So I'd like to hear from you in the comment section. Please, you do us this massive favor by subscribing to our channel to help our channel grow and for you to receive our news notification day by day. Thank you for watching. See you in our next video. Bye for now.